If someone is meant for you, you'll know it within minutes, not months, not years, minutes. Because the soul recognizes what the mind tries to understand. In life, we meet thousands of people. We shake hundreds of hands. We cross paths with countless faces. But only once in a very long time, we meet someone who makes us pause, someone who makes our heart whisper, "This person, there's something about this person." It happens in a moment, a brief conversation, a small smile, a simple gesture, and suddenly you feel something you didn't expect. Not attraction, not excitement, but peace. Because the people meant for us don't bring chaos into our life, they bring clarity. When someone is truly meant for you, the very first thing they bring into your life is clarity. Not confusion, not doubt, not the constant need to overthink. Just clarity, simple, clean, peaceful clarity. And the beauty of this clarity is that it shows up in the smallest moments of daily life, long before love, commitment, or deep conversations appear. You just begin to feel differently. You start seeing yourself differently. You begin to breathe without that hidden tension that you used to carry with the wrong people. You don't feel like you're performing, pretending, or proving anything. You simply feel like yourself, your actual self, without fear of judgment. Think about your day-to-day interactions. With some people, you feel the need to constantly explain yourself. You replay your words, you worry if they misunderstood. You try to sound smart, interesting, or impressive. Every conversation feels like a mental exam. You walk away drained, not because you spoke too much, but because you felt like you weren't allowed to be you. That is what confusion looks like. That is what the wrong people bring, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Now think about the people who bring clarity. The ones who listen to you without rushing. The ones who make even silence feel comfortable. The ones who allow you to share crazy dreams, painful truths, and simple joys without feeling embarrassed. You don't pretend. You don't shrink. You don't overanalyze. You just exist honestly. And that honesty feels like a breath of fresh air. It feels like sunlight entering a room that has been dark for too long. This is the clarity that destined people bring. Imagine you had a long, overwhelming day. Your mind is full, your heart is heavy, and you feel disconnected from everything. Then you get a message from one particular person. A simple message, nothing dramatic. Something like, "Hey, did you eat?" Or "Take a moment for yourself." Just a few words, but suddenly the noise inside you calms down. Not because the message is magical, but because the person carries a calming energy. Their intention is pure, their presence feels safe, and their words land straight into your heart without creating emotional storms. This happens when someone is meant for you. They don't complicate your mind, they soothe it. Confusion is loud, clarity is quiet. It doesn't scream for attention, it gently settles into your life. And the people meant for you always walk into your life with this gentle clarity. They don't rush you. They don't push you. They don't make you feel like you must become someone else to deserve them. Their energy tells you, "I see you." Their actions tell you, "I respect you." Their presence tells you, "You don't have to be afraid." You might have experienced this in friendships too. Sometimes you meet someone for the first time, and within minutes, you feel like you've known them for years. You share a laugh, and it feels natural. You share a story, and they understand without you having to explain every detail. And when you part ways, you think, why did that feel so easy? That's clarity. It's the soul recognizing comfort before the mind gets a chance to analyze it. In contrast, when someone is not meant for you, the signs appear early, their messages confuse you, their intentions feel unclear, you keep wondering what they meant. You question if you said something wrong. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. You want to talk to them, but you also dread the emotional roller coaster that follows. That is confusion disguised as connection. It drains you without giving anything back. Destined people don't drain you, they refill you. They don't demand emotional labor, they give emotional ease. They don't bring storms, they bring stillness. And that stillness becomes your biggest blessing in a world that constantly tries to unsettle your mind. Sometimes clarity appears in small moments. You're sitting with that person, and suddenly you feel grateful without knowing why. You look at them and think, this feels right. Maybe they didn't do anything grand. They just showed up with honesty and consistency. People meant for you don't need to perform to impress you. Their authenticity itself becomes their attraction. Their sincerity becomes their beauty. And the most amazing part is that clarity shows you your own worth. When the right person enters your life, you stop begging for attention. You stop chasing validation. You stop forcing connections. Because suddenly you realize that love, respect, and understanding shouldn't be fought for. They should flow naturally. You start seeing yourself as someone worthy of peace, not chaos, someone worthy of sincerity, not uncertainty. Destined people remind you how good it feels to be truly seen. They show you how beautiful it is to be understood. They make you feel valued in ways you didn't know you needed. They don't change who you are. They make you comfortable enough to grow into who you're meant to be. That's why clarity is the first sign. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply whispers a truth your heart already knows is six. This connection feels right because it aligns with your soul, not your fears. When someone is truly meant for you, one of the strongest signs is the feeling of safety they bring into your life. An emotional safety that doesn't need to be spoken, explained, or justified. It's a kind of comfort that reaches your heart before it reaches your mind. And what's beautiful is that this safety doesn't appear in grand moments. It appears in daily life, in ordinary situations, in the smallest gestures that quietly say, you're safe here, you're okay with me. You don't have to pretend. Think about how many people you meet in your daily life. Colleagues, relatives, strangers, neighbors, classmates. How many of them make you feel safe to be exactly who you are? Most people make you feel like you must adjust your tone, hide your weaknesses, mask your emotions, or pretend to be stronger than you truly feel. With them, you wear emotional armor. You choose your words with caution. You double-check your thoughts. You avoid being vulnerable, and without even realizing it, you carry a constant tension in your heart. Now think about that rare person with whom your heart relaxes instantly. Someone who makes you feel emotionally unguarded without making you feel exposed. Someone who doesn't trigger your insecurities. Instead, they calm them. Someone whose presence feels like a warm blanket on a cold night. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly comforting. That's the feeling of safety that destined people bring. It shows up in ordinary moments. Maybe you had a long, exhausting day and your mind is filled with thoughts that drain you. You sit down with this person, or even just hear their voice, and suddenly your thoughts slow down. You're not pressured to explain every detail of your day. Even silence feels peaceful. You don't feel judged for being tired, emotional, or imperfect. Instead, you feel understood without explanation. That is emotional safety. Or imagine this: you're talking about something silly, something small, something that probably makes no sense to anyone else. With most people, you'd feel embarrassed. But with this person, you laugh freely, you talk openly, and there is no fear of being misunderstood. You don't calculate your words. You don't think, will they judge me for this? You simply speak, and they simply listen. It's effortless. It's natural. Sometimes safety appears in the way they respond to your fears. When you share something painful with them, they don't dismiss it, they don't belittle it, and they don't tell you to just get over it. Instead, they acknowledge your feelings with gentleness. They hold space for your emotions. They make you feel like your pain is valid. They make you feel seen. You suddenly realize that vulnerability is no longer a risk but a relief. The right person creates an environment where you don't have to be perfect. They let you be human. They let you feel things deeply. They don't walk away when you're upset. They sit with you quietly until your heart settles. They don't laugh at your fears. They help you understand them. They don't take advantage of your weaknesses. They protect them. That's safety. That's emotional shelter. You may have experienced relationships or friendships where you were constantly anxious, wondering if they would leave, if they actually cared, if you were enough. That anxiety eats at your sense of self-worth. But when someone is meant for you, that anxiety disappears naturally. Not because you convince yourself to stay calm, but because their consistency calms you. Their sincerity stabilizes you. Their honesty reassures you. There is a kind of safety that comes from knowing someone doesn't have hidden intentions. They won't manipulate your emotions. They won't play mind games. They won't leave you guessing what your place is in their life. Their actions match their words. Their presence feels steady. Their affection feels honest. And that creates a deep, unshakable sense of trust. This safety also shows up when you make mistakes. With the wrong people, a small mistake becomes a disaster. They react emotionally. They blame. They shame. They hold things against you. But with the right person, you can be imperfect. You can misunderstand something. You can have a bad mood. And instead of reacting, they understand. They communicate calmly. They approach with care. It's not that you never disagree. Every relationship has disagreements. But the right person won't use disagreements to break you. Instead, they use them to deepen understanding. And you know what's beautiful? Safety makes you grow. When you feel safe with someone, you automatically become more open, more confident, more expressive, more yourself. You begin to dream bigger because you feel supported. You begin to heal because you feel understood. You begin to love yourself better because you see yourself through the eyes of someone who values you honestly. Safety isn't about avoiding all problems, It's about facing them with someone who doesn't let you go through them alone. It's about having someone who holds your hand, not because you can't walk, but because walking together feels easier. It's about having someone who makes you believe that you are worthy of love, respect, and understanding every single day. When someone is meant for you, this safety doesn't fade. In fact, it grows stronger with time. Their presence becomes a place your heart recognizes, a place where fear melts, walls fall, and peace enters silently. That is when you know this connection is real, meaningful, and destined. Because anyone can make you feel attracted, but only the right person makes you feel safe. When someone is truly meant for you, the connection does not need noise, dramatic gestures, or forced conversations. It simply appears, like a quiet sunrise that slowly floods your world with light. The third point reminds us that real connections do not demand pressure. They reveal themselves through presence, through energy, and through a natural sense of belonging that you cannot manufacture. Think about the people you've met in life. There are thousands you've walked past without a second thought, hundreds you've spoken to without remembering their names, dozens you've worked with without ever feeling close. But then, suddenly, you meet someone and something feels different. You don't know why, you cannot explain it logically, but your heart recognizes them even before your mind does. That feeling is not coincidence. It is spiritual mathematics. It is the universe showing you a pattern you cannot ignore. This instant knowing does not have to be romantic. It can be a friend, a mentor, a guide, someone who appears during a difficult period of your life and somehow brings calm into your chaos. You may have been confused, stressed, or directionless, but their presence feels like someone switched on a light inside you. You talk to them, and your worries feel lighter. You sit with them, and time moves differently. You laugh with them, and something inside you feels repaired. You open up to them, and you don't feel judged. That kind of connection is not ordinary. It is alignment. It is two life journeys crossing paths at the exact moment they were meant to. It's the kind of feeling that doesn't push you, it pulls you. Think of a magnet. A magnet never forces itself on anything. It simply attracts what carries the same charge. When someone is meant for you, your energies match without effort. Your rhythm naturally synchronizes. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to impress. You don't have to fear losing them, because real souls don't slip away. They stay, not because you hold on tightly, but because they feel at home with you. Many people mistake intensity for connection, a fast spark, a wild attraction, or a dramatic moment may feel powerful, but it does not guarantee that the souls align. Real connection is quieter. It feels like peace, not pressure. It feels like honesty, not confusion. It feels like I can be myself, not I have to perform. You don't rehearse your words with the right person. The conversation just happens. You don't wonder what they think about you. Their energy already tells you. You don't question your worth. They reflect your value back to you. Think of a moment in your life where you met someone and instantly thought, this person understands me, even before you exchanged many words. Maybe you were sitting in a classroom and a stranger smiled at you, and you felt an unexplainable warmth. Maybe you were at work and a colleague helped you without hesitation, and you felt a trust that usually takes years to build. Maybe you were going through something painful, and someone offered a small kindness, and suddenly you felt like you weren't alone. These are not coincidences. Souls recognize souls even before personalities introduce themselves. We often believe we choose our connections, but sometimes our connections choose us. There is a divine timing to the people who enter our lives. Imagine you boarded a train late, frustrated and rushing, and sat next to someone who ended up becoming your closest friend. It wasn't an accident. Imagine you took a job you did not even want, but that job led you to someone who changed your entire perspective on life. That wasn't an accident either. The universe rearranges itself to bring the right person to your path at the right moment. The beauty is that when someone is meant for you, you do not have to chase. You do not have to fight for their attention. You do not have to fear losing them. Their presence feels dependable. Their energy feels comforting. Their intentions feel pure. You feel seen, not just looked at. You feel heard, not just listened to. You feel valued, not just tolerated. And that feeling creates a sense of belonging that cannot be forced with anyone else. Some people you meet feel like you've known them forever. It's not because you actually have. It's because your souls are speaking a language your minds haven't learned yet. That is why the connection feels so familiar. That is why your guard goes down effortlessly. That is why you trust them more than you logically should. Someone who is meant for you doesn't just fit into your life, they fit into your growth. They challenge you to improve without forcing you to change who you are. They support your dreams without overshadowing them. They bring gentleness into your wounds and clarity into your confusion. And the most magical part is this: when someone is genuinely meant for you, things just flow. Not perfectly, because no connection is perfect, but naturally. Even during misunderstandings, there is respect. Even during silence, there is certainty. Even during distance, there is connection. They don't disappear when things get difficult. They don't pull away when you are vulnerable. They don't punish you for being human. Real connections survive reality. So trust that feeling you get within minutes, not the rush, not the butterflies, not the drama, the calm, the peace. The sense of, I just know. That knowing is not illusion, it is guidance. It is intuition. It is your heart whispering, here, this person matters. When someone is meant for you, your soul recognizes them before your thoughts catch up. And no matter how long your journeys take, the universe always finds a way to bring aligned souls together. When someone is meant for you, one of the most beautiful signs is that as the connection grows without pressure, it evolves naturally, without the need to force conversations, prove your worth, or constantly question where you stand. Real connections expand gently, like a flower opening at sunrise. Not rushed, not demanded, not pushed. Simply unfolding at the pace it is meant to. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to fight for a place in their life. You simply fit. And that feeling of fitting, of being accepted without conditions, is one of the purest forms of peace you will ever experience. Think of the people you have tried to keep in your life by force. People you texted first every time. People you apologized to even when they were wrong. People you gave to, because you were terrified of losing them. What happened? The more you pushed, the more distant they became. The more you tried to hold them close, the faster they slipped away. It's because anything that is forced eventually breaks. Anything that is genuine naturally flows. When someone is meant for you, you don't have to break yourself to keep them. A true connection feels like breathing, so effortless that you barely realize it's happening, yet so essential that you can feel its warmth inside your soul. You could be sitting in silence with the right person, and that silence wouldn't feel empty. It would feel comfortable. You could go hours without talking, and yet you feel connected. You could be miles apart, and yet you feel close. That is the beauty of a bond that grows without pressure. Think about friendships you never planned. Maybe you were sitting in a classroom or at work, and the person next to you made a small joke. You laughed, and something clicked. Over time, without calculating, without planning, without expectation, that person became someone you trust deeply. Did you force it? No, it happened with ease. That ease is a sign. Life doesn't complicate what is meant for you. Look at nature for a moment. A plant does not scream to grow. A river does not force its way uphill. A tree does not demand sunlight. Everything in nature expands naturally at its own pace through alignment, not pressure. Likewise, connections that are meant to stay in your life follow the same rule. They don't arrive with stress. They don't drain your energy. They don't make you question your worth. Instead, they feel nourishing. They help you grow without suffocating you. Maybe you've met someone who made you feel safe without even trying. You didn't have to pretend to be stronger than you are. You didn't have to hide your weaknesses. Their presence itself gave you permission to be your authentic self. That is not something you can force with the wrong person, no matter how hard you try. But with the right person, authenticity flows out of you like water breaking free from a dam. Consider a moment from your life when you met someone and immediately felt lighter. Their energy was soft. Their words were genuine. Their presence calming. You spoke to them, and it felt like you had known them for years. Even your thoughts flowed more freely around them. You didn't rehearse your sentences in your head. You didn't worry about being judged. You just existed. And existing felt enough. That is the kind of growth that natural connections bring. They don't force you to change, but they inspire you to become better. Even misunderstandings with the right person feel different. Instead of anger, there is patience. Instead of blame, there is understanding. Instead of silence used as punishment, there is silence used for reflection. You grow together, even in difficult moments, because the foundation was built on sincerity, not pressure. Sometimes, life brings someone into your world at the exact moment you're tired, disappointed, or heartbroken. You might feel emotionally drained, uninterested in connection, or too tired to trust again. But this person enters quietly and slowly helps you rediscover parts of yourself you had buried. They don't rush your healing. They don't demand your trust overnight. They simply stay. And because they stay without pressure, you begin to open like a flower that finally feels safe under the sunlight. You start sharing things you never planned to reveal. You start laughing again. Real laughter, the kind that escapes you without effort. You begin to dream again. You begin to believe in goodness again. And all of this happens because the connection was allowed to grow naturally, without force. You see, what is meant for you never arrives with urgency. It arrives with clarity. It arrives with peace. It arrives with consistency. When someone is meant for you, they don't need to be convinced. They already feel it. They already understand it. They already value it. And the most beautiful truth is this: when you stop forcing connections, you make space for the right ones to enter. You make room for the people who see your worth without explanation, who choose you without hesitation, who grow with you without pressure. Trust the timing of such people. Trust the ease of such moments. Trust the peace that comes with such connections. If someone is meant for you, they will not need to be held tightly. They will naturally choose to stay. When someone is meant for you, patience becomes natural, not forced, not rehearsed, not struggled for, but naturally present in the atmosphere between you. It is one of the clearest signs of a genuine connection, because patience is not something we effortlessly give to everyone. With some people, even waiting for a reply feels exhausting. Their inconsistency makes you restless. Their mixed signals make you anxious, and their presence feels like a guessing game. But with the right person, time stops feeling like a battle. It becomes a gentle teacher, not an enemy. Think of the moments in your life when you truly loved something: a hobby, a dream, a passion. Did you rush it? No. You gave it time, because the joy it brought you made waiting feel worthwhile. The same happens with the right person. You never feel like you are wasting your time. You feel like you are investing it. And investments take patience, but it's the kind of patience that grows you, not drains you. Imagine meeting someone who is healing, someone who is coming from past wounds, someone who needs time to trust again. If they are meant for you, you don't feel irritated by their process. You feel honored to be part of it. You don't rush them to open up. You don't pressure them to be perfect. You simply allow them to unfold at their own pace, because you can sense their sincerity. When someone is meant for you, their vulnerability awakens your patience, not your frustration. There are people who make you feel like you're always behind, always lacking, always not enough. With them, you feel pressure to speed up your growth, to hide your flaws, to be perfect instantly. But with the right person, your imperfections do not scare them, and their imperfections do not scare you. You naturally give each other the space to learn, to express, to heal. You don't rush their emotional process, and they don't rush yours. It's like two trees growing side by side, separately, but still together. Patience becomes natural, because the connection doesn't feel like it's running out of time. You don't feel like you have to secure them before they leave. You don't feel the need to cling tightly to prove your worth. There is an unspoken understanding: I'm here. Take your time. That sentence alone can heal a person in ways words cannot explain. Think of real life examples. Maybe you've had a friend you didn't talk to for months. Yet when you finally reconnected, it felt like nothing had changed. Why? Because the bond was stronger than the gaps in time. That is what real patience looks like. It is not measured in minutes or days, but in understanding and trust. Picture another scenario. You meet someone who makes you feel seen. You talk, you laugh, you connect. But life responsibilities interrupt the pace. Maybe they are building their career. Maybe you are taking care of your family. Maybe both of you are navigating challenges that require focus. Yet, instead of demanding constant attention or creating insecurity, the connection remains a quiet, steady flame. You don't lose faith just because you don't communicate every second. You trust the bond because it feels real. You wait because your heart tells you the wait is meaningful. Even in moments of silence, the connection doesn't feel broken. It feels paused, naturally, gently, respectfully. You don't overthink the quiet moments. You don't feel abandoned. You don't question your worth. Why? Because patience has replaced fear. And patience only grows where there is emotional safety. With the right person, patience also shows up in how you handle disagreements. When someone truly matters, you don't rush to win the argument or prove your point. You take time to understand, to listen, to see their perspective. You choose harmony over ego. You choose communication over silence. You choose softness over stubbornness. And all of this happens not because you are forcing yourself to be patient, but because you desire peace more than pride. In daily life, patience shows up in small, gentle ways. You wait for them to express themselves fully, even if they struggle with words. You wait for them to trust you, even if their past made them hesitant. You wait for them to grow, evolve, and become who they are meant to be, because something in your soul knows they are worth the wait. This kind of patience isn't passive, it's powerful. It is the quiet confidence that what is meant for you will not pass you by. In a world that pushes instant gratification, instant messages, instant love, instant validation, finding someone who makes you patient is rare. They awaken a calmness inside you that feels sacred. With them, you don't crave fast progress, you crave meaningful progress. You don't want the connection to rush, you want it to root. And roots take time, but they make the tree unshakable. The right person will never make you feel like you're wasting your time by being patient. Instead, they make patience feel like a privilege. They make waiting feel like part of the journey, not a test of endurance. You wait because you want to, not because you have to. So when someone enters your life, your heart naturally slows down, your worries soften, your expectations relax, and your patience expands effortlessly. Pay attention. That kind of patience is not ordinary. It is the heartbeat of a connection that is meant to stay.